Just want to welcome you. Thank you for being here. We want to acknowledge your commitment. Why you're here speaks highly of what you're committed to, right? We love that you've decided to take a stand and ask yourself, what can I do? What can I contribute? I feel like I want to do something. I don't know what to do. Is there anything I can do? So the answers are resounding yes, and we're going to empower you in this training, right? And the very first thing is, the first part of the training is, what's important is to create a place to stand, right? So what do we mean by that? Many of us already know as humans, we operate inside of a context, right? And there's either the default, past derived context, or a created context. When we're out there, social media, floating or talking to people, and we hear certain things that are outside of the world of the things that we agree with, what's going to be automatic and what's going to be right there is the default in most cases. And I call it like the bait. And something in you is going to want to take the bait. It's going to be like a knee-jerk reaction. And it's usually going to come from some place of righteousness or a place of fear, right? And we don't want to come from there, right? That's one of the things that I think we've all seen is when we're just trying to be right, it doesn't make much of a difference, right? So we invite you to create a place to stand, to create your own created context as to, you know what, I see what's happening out there. This plan is something that could make a difference, dropping information towards the Just the Facts website, and where people can go at their own pace, follow the breadcrumb trail. So let me do this effectively. Instead of just giving my knee-jerk response, let me actually put that aside for a second and stand inside of my created place to stand, right? Where we're standing in this project is we're standing in love and compassion, right? We chose to be inclusive of wherever people are. We have chosen to take on the position that we are 100% responsible for wherever people are, right? And we can have compassion for where they are. At one point, I was totally oblivious to a lot of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and people are there right now. And what makes a difference is to come from compassion and love. That's our invitation. You can stand there and you can create your own place to stand. So now, we're just going to go into creating a picture of what works and what doesn't work inside of our effective social media intervention training, right? So let's start with what doesn't work. What doesn't work is taking the bait, right? The opportunities to look good, be right, win, dominate, make others look bad. That's all going to be right there, I promise you. You're going to see somebody say something, it's going to have some headline, or you're going to see some comment about somebody saying something, and you're just going to be like, wow, like that person is so off, like let me just blah, blah, blah. Right? And the bait will be to come across either smart alecky or just, I have the truth, I know better, right? Or you have no idea what's going on. You need to read this, or all that stuff is going to be right there, right? That's all being right, winning, dominating, making others look bad, and it's really all to just make yourself look good. Doesn't make a difference. So what else doesn't work? Coming from, I'm right. I have the truth, right? Being the bearer of the truth. And look, you very well might be. You very well might be the person that has the most accurate information in the world around this one subject. However, if you come from there, it's not going to make a difference. It doesn't work. Also, making other people wrong. That's the biggest one, right? Making other people wrong for their views, for their opinions, for their beliefs, for their positions, for being wherever they are, making them wrong. It doesn't work. Saying things like, or you speaking up yourself and saying things like, people are so stupid, or people should know better, or you're all a bunch of sheep. Being nasty and a bully, making them wrong for not getting it. Like, why don't you get it already? Open up, open your eyes, wake up. Being judgmental. Doesn't work. We tried.
I can tell you're enjoying this part of the talk.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking at my. I know because I've been there, right? I tried it. Look, I was the first criminal. Okay, I want you to know that. Zaina will tell you. So this is tried and true. All right. What else doesn't work? Being attached. Attached to what? Well, attached to your own opinion. Attached to your own narrative, or attached that they get it. Attached that they wake up, quote unquote, wake up, right? Or being positional, right? That all just doesn't work. Does that paint the picture?
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Sure, yeah.
Now, what does work? Okay. What does work is coming from your commitment. We want to look at the big picture here. What are you out to create in the world? What do you see is missing? Right? We started at the beginning, right? Stand in your place to stand. And when you're sending your commitment, there's no attachment to specific outcome. Commitment is not about, oh, if I take this action, then I will get this result. That would be being attached to that result. Commitment is all about where you're standing. If I'm standing from unity, compassion, and love, it has no relevance how the interaction goes. I'll continue to stand inside compassion, love, and unity. So stand in your created context. What works also is acknowledging people for their commitment. Believe it or not, other people out there making others wrong, right? For not wearing their mask, for not taking the lockdown seriously, or for whatever position they might have, they have a commitment too. People that are upset at other people that don't wear masks and are out there being verbal about it, they have a commitment for people's well-being. They're committed that we live in a world where people are healthy and that we can all just eventually end this so-called quarantine and go out about our lives again. They're really committed to that, right? So acknowledge that commitment. Also, acknowledging that person for who they are for you. And this is somebody that you're connected with in social media. Chances are you have a relationship with that person. So before jumping into, oh, well, but what about this? Or have you heard about this? Maybe you haven't spoken to that person in a few days or in a few weeks or in a few months or in a few years. Say hello and acknowledge that person for who they are for you. Before I tell Zaina, hey, see, you know what? That's actually not accurate. This is, this is what you really want to know. How about I tell Zaina, hey, Zaina, wow, I haven't spoken to you in a while. I saw this and it caught my attention, but I first want to say, it's been so long since we've spoken. I hope you're doing well. Actually create some relatedness, right? Instead of going into just the fact checker mode or something. Also, being open and willing to listen. This is a big one. Coming from, I could be wrong. Right. What I think we all here might agree that was missing. One of the things that's missing is people being willing to alter their opinion about something once they find information that outweighs their opinion. Well, guess what? If we want people to be able to go through that motion to alter their opinion, we ourselves have to be open to alter our opinion too. So I invite you to consider, I just invite you to take on, I could be wrong. Open to discovering something new yourself and even having a paradigm shift yourself. Look, we all might be wrong about this whole thing. Maybe we're all just wasting our time and we should all just go wear masks. I can create that context. You know what? I'm open to discovering that what you're saying is more factual, more accurate, right? So also speaking to people from where they are, right? That's why we've spoken about a breadcrumb trail in this project, because it's difficult to give people this huge hard pill to swallow, right? Similar, I like the analogy of telling a 6-year-old that Santa Claus is not real, on the day before Christmas. How's that gonna go? Kids, 6-year-olds waiting for Santa Claus to arrive, leave the presents overnight, and you're gonna come and tell them, well, you know what, Santa Claus is not real. And guess what? You're right. Santa Claus is not real. It's a fairy tale. But what it still has the same impact on that person. They're not going to want to hear whatever you have to say next. Right? So being generous and kind with others. And lastly, coming from my opinion, end view is irrelevant. Factual information is what's powerful. So coming from, like, let's discover the facts about this together. Coming from, hey, I've also just been trying to do my best to navigate through this storm of information that's out there right now. You know, how about we look at this together? If you want somebody to spend time reading an article that you're sending with them, you're also going to have to spend time reading an article that they shared themselves. And starting to create and starting to bridge that gap, right? Like our own righteousness is going to be right there to the point that we don't even want to consider any information because we're already right. We already have the truth. We don't need to go back and read all that nonsense, sheepish stuff, that mainstream media stuff. Well, again, the invitation is leave that aside. If you want to make an effort to share something with somebody effectively, you have to be willing to go through the same effort that you're asking them to go through. And if you're asking them to consider a piece of information that you want to put in front of them, then consider that piece of information that they've also put in front of you.
Cesar, I'd like to just jump in for a moment as we
Yes.
wrap up this part, okay?
Yep.
I think what might be there for some people is like, yeah, but what about the people who think we're absolutely crazy, right? So developing yourself in this is also developing your listening in. Look, there are some people that just cannot hear this right now. And if you go on and on and on with those people, they're not hearing you. So you may want to walk away from those conversations and go for what we call the low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit are the people who are like what we call the seekers. You know, they're like, you know, I had somebody call me yesterday and say, listen, I really need to talk to somebody about this QAnon thing. I am so angry. And her views were so opposite to mine, but we were able to have a conversation. And she came to me and she was open to hearing things because she was so angry and so confused. And she knew in my space, I was not going to fight with her. And also, you know, knowing when to interact and when not to interact. There are some times where you walking away is the best thing you can do for yourself and for that other person. Because a lot of the things we're seeing, you guys, is a lot of you brilliant, like us brilliant people, you're wasting so much energy on something that's not ready to move right now. It's like talking to like a brick wall, right? So sometimes
Yes.
you just walk away. So that's part of the training too. Like, and everything Cesar said, like nothing is a formula. It's like what you said, developing our intuitive, like developing our being so out here with people that we're like, you know what, I'm going to have a conversation now about this. And I'm going to, you know what, now, no, I'm not going to have a conversation with you about this. Or sometimes it may be, you know what, I'm going to pick up the phone and call this person. I'm not going to go back and forth with them commenting on social media so they can hide behind a computer screen. Let's have a conversation. So, you know, all that, like and part of the training we're going to do weekly with the people who want to be actively on social media trolling, we're actually going to keep track of the conversations we're having, how many links are being dropped on social media, because we want to have a certain amount of conversations, like quota, a week, a day, a month, right? So, and then every week we're going to get on the call together and we're going to support each other and coach each other and do mock conversations. So the things that trip you up, the triggers where you get upset and you lose it and you stop being loving and compassionate, right? So that we can bring that to each other. Guys, the only way that I've gone through the last 4 months is because I've had Cesar to call and say, Cesar, I'm so pissed right now. Can you just recreate what just happened? So, and he does. And we have a 2-minute conversation. I'm back to my possibility of love and compassion and being a leader of leaders in a beautiful,
and I do the very same. You know, like, I can't believe what this person said. You know?
So that's
Yeah.
part of it, you guys. So Caesar, I think you did a good job just summarizing, you know, the beginning of this training. And I think you
Yeah.
guys can get an idea where we're coming from. And then we'll keep developing this together. Okay.
Yes.
So Caesar, I think it's a good point to stop now and we could break
Right.
down.
Yeah, just wanna share that we will have our effective social media intervention cheat sheet available in the support website. I will provide it to Raj this week, and we have a 4-step outline of the cheat sheet, right? So that is all for now. Thank you very much for being in the training.